In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the fuel pump assembly in this Chevy Silverado. Let's get into it. Disconnect the battery. We want to use a 10mm socket. We're going to disconnect the negative terminal. Loosen that up. If you have to, you can remove this plate, but you should be able to do it without doing that. Just pull that out and set it aside. Pull this cover off and slide it out. On the fuel line, there's a cap. I'm going to remove that cap. I want to bleed off the pressure in the fuel system. Take that cap off, and I'm just going to take a rag. There's a little Schrader valve right there. Just take a straight blade screwdriver or a pick and just push down on the Schrader valve. Just be careful, you want to wear safety glasses and gloves. And all the pressure's bled off, so that's good. I can put the cap back on. First, we're going to loosen up the fuel filler neck. I'm going to use an 8mm socket, and right above the gas tank, there's a worm clamp. We're going to loosen that up. Now that's loose. Now just grab the filler neck tube, just wiggle it back and forth, and just try to pull it off. Twisting it back and forth sometimes helps. There we go, pull that off. And we're just gonna cut these wire ties right here and right here. Snip those off. All right. For this hose, there is a connection over here. So disconnect this connector right here. There is a little lock tab on it. You just have to push that up. It's a little bit tricky. There we go. So that piece just slides up, and then you can separate these, just like that. And we have this last one. I'm taking a trim tool, I'm going to release the vent hose that goes all the way to the top here. You can try to unlatch it. that off. And that's gonna go down with the fuel tank. Push that in there. I can just sit up on top. Disconnect this hose that goes to the top of the fuel tank. Just push on these two little tabs and it slides off. Just like that. Set that aside. Now we're going to disconnect this fuel line right here. There's two little clips on the bottom. You want to push those in and it slides up just like that. And I'm just going to use a rag just so nothing splashes, although we already bled off the system, so there shouldn't be any pressure in there. Just separate that. You might want a drain bucket underneath just in case some of the fuel comes out, just like that. Now I'm going to support the fuel tank. Using a 15mm socket, we're going to take the bolts out where the straps are. Make sure you do this by hand. You don't want to put an impact on there. Otherwise you could break the nuts that are holding it. That bolt out and grab the strap and slide it down. Now slide the strap up and out of the retainer. Now I'm going to take the other strap out, do the same. Take the 15mm socket, loosen it up by hand. Out and pull the strap down. Slide that one out. And out of the way. All right, now we're going to start lowering the tank. Go nice and slow. We're still going to have to disconnect the connector. Now with the tank lowered a little bit, I'm going to reach over and grab the connector right here. Disconnect the connector for the tank pressure sensor. And then the main tank, push down that connector. There may be a lock on there. You might have to move the lock back, pull it back, and then disconnect it. And lower it down. There it is. I'll disconnect the hoses, just squeeze the two tabs on the side of this hose. And if it doesn't come off, you might need a pick or a screwdriver. Just get behind the tabs and you can slide that one off. And there's a lock ring that holds this on, or a lock tab. Just slide that back, take that one off, and do the same on this one. Slides off and out of the way. I'm just going to move the hose out of the way. It's clipped in right here. Just use a straight blade screwdriver. We can move those out of the way. These are clipped in over here as well. You can always move those. Good. There is a special tool so that you can remove the lock ring. If you don't have that, you can use a brass punch and just loosen it up. You want to use brass so you don't have any sparks. Pop the lock ring off. Before you do this, you want to take some compressed air and just spray away any of the dirt and debris. And grab the fuel pump and slide it up. I'm just going to dump some of the fuel back into the tank. And slide it up and out. Take the new pump assembly. We need to install the float. Slide that in place right there. Very carefully. Just want to push in, lock it in place. Just make sure it moves, and that looks good. I want to take a rag and just wipe any debris away from the top of the tank. It might be a little rust or dirt. That's good. You can take the seal, line that up. Just take the pump assembly, line the float in first, and slide it down in position. And this little piece right here and indexes over here, just like it came out. Just try to push it in place, just like that. Take the lock ring. While you're holding it down, get that started. Then again, if you have the tool, use the tool and tighten this down. Otherwise, just use the brass punch and a hammer. Make sure all the fingers are in the right place. A little more. And it's all the way on. Now hook up all the lines, line that up, and then lock it down. Same with this fuel line. Line it up, lock it down. This can all go into place. And the last one. Lock it in place. There we go. Now when the gas tank's up to the right level, you can connect the connector before you go all the way up. Lock that in place, and then the pressure sensor. Get that lined up. And lock that in place. Now I take the bracket, line that up, and hook the other bracket up as well, get that lined up. And get the bolts in, get those started. And the other one. Tighten these down. And then you want to torque these to 30 foot-pounds. Now I can lower the support for the fuel tank. Now reattach these lines, the fuel line, push that in place, and then push down on the clip. Once it's all the way in, that's locked in. And this line right here. And lock it down. Now take this hose, we'll line this up. Push that in. When that's secure, push down on the lock. That's good. Now take the filler neck hose, get that lined up. There is a keyway on the top of the hose that lines up with a tab on the tank. Once you get that on, you can slide the clamp in place. And that's all the way down. Now we'll tighten down the clamp. And snug that down. That's good, not too tight. Now this hose is going to go up top. Slide that up in place. And lock it down. There we go. And just take some wire ties and tie them up, just like when you took it apart. And another one right there. And you can clip the excess. Just use some side cutters. Now you can put the engine cover back on. Just line that up in the back and push it down. Reconnect the battery. Just take the negative lead, put that over the terminal, and tighten it down. Just snug it down. And when you go to start the vehicle, turn the key for 2 or 3 cycles. That's going to prime the fuel up to the fuel injectors, and then you should be able to start the vehicle with no problem.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.